ഒരു സുസ്ഥിരമായ ഭാവിക്കായി അസമത്വത്തിനെതിരെ പോരാടുന്നു എന്നതാണ് ഈ വർഷത്തെ അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര ദുരന്ത ലഘൂകരണ ദിനത്തിന്റെ തീം. So let's start with the session. I heartily invite respected Shri G.P. Unnikrishnan sir, Joint Secretary and Director of KLAMS, for the welcome and introductory remarks.
Hello, welcome everybody. I am G.P. Unnikrishnan, Director of KLAMS, Kerala City Assembly. I welcome all of you to the state platform on climate action jointly organized by Kerala City Assembly and UNICEF. And I hope this session will do very good. And there is an interactive session and also a lecture by Dr. Abhilash. I welcome Dr. Abhilash, Director, Radar Center, KUSAT, to present this session. And also Shri K.L. Rao, Chief Social Policy, UNICEF, Chennai, and Shri Mahendra, who is the Director of Risk and Resilience Office, UNICEF in Chennai, and Shri M.S. VIjayan, Executive Director, KLAMS, and all other participants in this wonderful session. And I hope you will enjoy this session and you will do it in your future programs like how to tackle the perils of the climate change and also the weather change and also the action plan. We can discuss after the lecture, I think. So we can start with, I invite Shri M.S. VIjayan, Executive Director, KLAMS, to address our gathering for his presidential address. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rishman. Good evening, all. ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട ശ്രീ E.K. വിജയൻ MLA, ശ്രീ K.L. Rao, Chief UNICEF.
Sorry,
Can you hear?
Sir Vijay, I forgot to mention, invite our Chairman of Environment Committee,
Okay. You forget.
E.K. Vijayan. So I also invite him.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട ശ്രീ E.K. വിജയൻ MLA, ശ്രീ K.L. Rao, Chief UNICEF Officer for Kerala and Tamil Nadu, ഡോക്ടർ മഹേന്ദ്ര രാജാറാം, ശ്രീ G.P. ഉണ്ണികൃഷ്ണൻ, ഈ സൂം മീറ്റിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്ന മറ്റ് കുട്ടികളെ, മറ്റ് വിശിഷ്ട വ്യക്തികളെ, ഇവിടെ പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ കേരള നിയമസഭയുടെ KLAMSും യുനിസെഫും സംയുക്തമായി നടപ്പാക്കി വരുന്ന സംസ്ഥാനതല യുവജന കാലാവസ്ഥാ വേദിയുടെ ആഭിമുഖ്യത്തിൽ വിവിധ പരിശീലന പരിപാടികൾ ഓൺലൈനായി സംഘടിപ്പിച്ചു വരുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിന്റെ ഭാഗമായാണ് നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് ഇവിടെ കൂടിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇന്നത്തെ ദിവസത്തിന്റെ പ്രത്യേകത പറഞ്ഞതുപോലെ ഇന്ന് അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര ദുരന്ത ലഘൂകരണ ദിനമായിട്ടാണ് ആചരിക്കുകയാണ്. ഐക്യരാഷ്ട്രസഭ 1989 മുതലാണ് ഈ ദിവസം ആചരിച്ചു വരുന്നത്. ഇത് പ്രകൃതി ദുരന്ത നിവാരണത്തിനുള്ള ഒരു അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര ദശകം പ്രഖ്യാപിക്കുന്നതിന്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ടാണ് ഒക്ടോബർ 13 അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര ദുരന്ത ലഘൂകരണ ദിനമായി ഐക്യരാഷ്ട്രസഭ പ്രഖ്യാപിച്ചത്. നമുക്കറിയാം, ഈ കാലാവസ്ഥാ വ്യതിയാനവും അതുമൂലം ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ദുരന്തങ്ങളുമാണ് ഇന്ന് പുതിയ ഈ കാലഘട്ടം നേരിടുന്ന ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പ്രതിസന്ധി, അല്ലേ? യുവജനങ്ങളുടെ വളരെ ക്രിയാത്മകമായ ഗുണപരമായ ഇടപെടലുകൾ ഈ രംഗത്ത് നമുക്ക് ഉണ്ടാകേണ്ടതുണ്ട്. പലപ്പോഴും ചില ദുരന്തങ്ങളെങ്കിലും നമുക്ക് ഒഴിവാക്കാവുന്നതാണ്. അത് എങ്ങനെ പ്രകൃതിയെ നന്നായി മനസ്സിലാക്കുക എന്നതാണ് ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാനം. അതില് ദുരന്തങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായതിനു ശേഷം ലഘൂകരിക്കുന്നതിനേക്കാള് നല്ലത് അത് ഉണ്ടാകാതെ നോക്കേണ്ടതാണ്. അതിന് പൊതുസമൂഹത്തിന്റെ കൂട്ടായ പ്രവർത്തനമാണ് ആവശ്യം. കാരണം മുമ്പെങ്കിലും സംഭവിക്കാത്ത തരത്തിലുള്ള പ്രകൃതി ദുരന്തങ്ങളാണ് ലോകത്താകമാനം സംഭവിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. നമ്മുടെ സംസ്ഥാനത്ത് സ്ഥിതി വിഭിന്നമല്ലല്ലോ. നമ്മൾ 2017 ഓഖി, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കങ്ങൾ, തുടർച്ചയായ വരുന്ന വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കങ്ങൾ എല്ലാം നമ്മൾ നേരിട്ടതാണ്. വളരെ ഫലപ്രദമായി തന്നെ നമ്മൾ നേരിട്ടു. നമ്മുടെ സംസ്ഥാനത്ത് ഇത്തരം പ്രകൃതി ദുരന്തങ്ങൾ നേരിടുന്നതിന് ഫലപ്രദമായ ഒരു സംവിധാനം ഉണ്ട്. പരിശീലനം ലഭിച്ച സന്നദ്ധ സംഘടനകളുണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ കേന്ദ്ര ഗവൺമെന്റിന്റെ ആപത്ത് നിർത്തും മിത്ര എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു പദ്ധതി നമ്മുടെ സംസ്ഥാനത്ത് നടപ്പാക്കി വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള പ്രകൃതി ദുരന്തങ്ങളെ നേരിടാൻ ഭാവിയിൽ ഇത് മാത്രം പോരാ, ഐക്യരാഷ്ട്രസഭ അതുപോലെ തന്നെ യുനിസെഫ് തുടങ്ങിയ ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസിന്റെ ഒക്കെ സഹകരണം ഭാവിയിൽ നമുക്ക് കൂടുതലായി ലോകത്താകമാനം ആവശ്യമായി വരും. ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഏകോപിപ്പിച്ച് കൊണ്ടുപോകാനും കൂടുതൽ യുവജനങ്ങളെ ഇത്തരം പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളിലേക്ക് കൊണ്ടുവരാനും കാലാവസ്ഥാ വേദി പോലുള്ള ഈ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം നമുക്ക് ഏറെ സഹായകരമാണെന്നുള്ളത് തർക്കമില്ല. അപ്പൊ ഇന്ന് ഈ പരിപാടിയുടെ ഔപചാരികമായ ഉദ്ഘാടനം നിർവഹിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട MLA-യും കേരള നിയമസഭയുടെ പരിസ്ഥിതി കമ്മിറ്റിയുടെ ചെയർമാനുമായ ശ്രീ E.K. വിജയൻ സാറാണ്. പ്രകൃതി ദുരന്തങ്ങൾ അടക്കമുള്ള വിവിധ പാരിസ്ഥിതിക പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ പഠിക്കുകയും ക്രിയാത്മകവും ഫലപ്രദവുമായ ശുപാർശകൾ സർക്കാരിന് നൽകുകയും ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു സമിതിയാണ് നമ്മുടെ പരിസ്ഥിതി സമിതി. ഇതിന്റെ ഉദ്ഘാടനത്തിന് അദ്ദേഹത്തെ തന്നെ കിട്ടിയത് വളരെ നല്ലൊരു കാര്യമായിട്ടാണ് ഞാൻ കരുതുന്നത്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ശ്രീ KL Rao, Chief Minister of Office for Kerala and Tamil Nadu, is also present with us. Dr. Mahendra Rajaram is also present. വളരെ ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട ഈ പരിപാടിയുടെ ഔപചാരിക ഉദ്ഘാടനത്തിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് ഞാൻ ശ്രീ EK വിജയൻ MLA അവരെ ആദരപൂർവ്വം ക്ഷണിക്കുന്നു.
എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. നമ്മുടെ ഈ ചടങ്ങിന് സ്വാഗതം ആശംസിച്ച ശ്രീമാൻ GP ഉണ്ണികൃഷ്ണൻ, അധ്യക്ഷം വഹിക്കുന്ന ഏറെ ബഹുമാന്യനും പ്രിയ സുഹൃത്തുമായ MS വിജയൻ, മുഖ്യ അതിഥിയായി പങ്കെടുക്കുന്ന ബഹുമാന്യനായ KL Rao, നന്ദി രേഖപ്പെടുത്തുന്ന മഹേന്ദ്ര രാജറാം, പ്രിയപ്പെട്ടവരെ, കേരള നിയമസഭയും കാലാംസും യൂണിസെഫും സംയുക്തമായി ചേർന്നുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മുടെ പ്രകൃതി ദുരന്തങ്ങളിൽ നിന്ന് നാടിനെ രക്ഷിക്കാൻ യുവചേതനയുടെ ക്രിയാത്മകമായ പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളിലേക്ക് അനിവാര്യമായും ഇടപെടണമെന്ന കാഴ്ചപ്പാടോടുകൂടിയാണ് ഇത്തരമൊരു പ്രവർത്തനവുമായി മുന്നോട്ട് പോകാൻ തീരുമാനിച്ചിട്ടുള്ളത് എന്നത് സന്തോഷകരമാണ്. ഇവിടെ സൂചിപ്പിച്ചതുപോലെ ഐക്യരാഷ്ട്രസഭ 1989 മുതൽ ഈ ദിനം ദുരന്ത ലഘൂകരണ ദിനമായി, നിവാരണ ലഘൂകരണ ദിനമായി ആചരിക്കുകയാണ്. അതിഭീകരമായി കുറച്ച് വർഷങ്ങളായി നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്ത് വന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന പ്രകൃതിയിലെ മാറ്റം, അത് ഗൗരവം ലോകശാസ്ത്ര മേഖലയാകെ പരിശോധിച്ച് പരിഹാരം കാണേണ്ടതാണ്. എന്നാൽ നാം തന്നെ അതിന് നേരിട്ട് ഭാഗവാക്കാവുന്നുണ്ടോ എന്ന ചോദ്യത്തിന് ഉത്തരം കിട്ടാൻ എല്ലാ വ്യക്തികളും വീട്ടുകാരും തയ്യാറാകണമെന്നാണ് ആമുഖമായി എനിക്ക് സൂചിപ്പിക്കാനുള്ളത്. സമീപ വർഷങ്ങളായി നമുക്കൊട്ടേറെ വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കവും ഓഖി ദുരന്തം, പ്രളയം എന്നിവയെല്ലാം നേരിട്ടത് നമ്മുടെ മനസ്സിൽ ഓർമ്മയുണ്ട്. സമീപകാലത്ത് തന്നെ ഹിമാചലിലും ഇപ്പൊ ഏറ്റവും അടുത്ത ദിവസങ്ങളിൽ കേരളത്തിൽ 2 ജില്ലകളിലുണ്ടായ പെട്ടെന്നുണ്ടായ അതിവർഷം കൊണ്ട് മണിക്കൂറുകൾ കൊണ്ടുണ്ടായ വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കവും ഒക്കെ നമ്മുടെ ശ്രദ്ധയിലുള്ളതാണ്. അപ്പൊ ഇതിനെ അതിജീവിക്കുന്ന പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളിലേക്ക് നമുക്ക് പോയേ പറ്റൂ. ഇപ്പോ കേരള നിയമസഭ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു മുൻകൈയെടുത്ത് പ്രവർത്തനം നടത്തുന്നതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ കേരള ഗവൺമെന്റും വിദ്യാർത്ഥികളെയും ചെറുപ്പക്കാരെയും ഈ രംഗത്തേക്ക് കൊണ്ടുവരാനുള്ള നല്ല പ്രവർത്തനം നടത്തി മുന്നോട്ട് പോവുകയാണ്. നിയമസഭ നടത്തുന്ന നാമ്പ് എന്ന് തുടങ്ങിയ പ്രവർത്തനത്തോടൊപ്പം ഇന്ന് ചെറുപ്പക്കാർ സ്കൂളുകളിൽ, കോളേജുകളിൽ, മറ്റ് കലാസമിതി ക്ലബ്ബുകളിൽ എല്ലാം മുൻകൈയെടുത്ത് ഈ ദിനവുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ ഗൗരവമേറിയ പ്രശ്നത്തെ കണ്ടുകൊണ്ട് പ്രവർത്തിക്കുന്നു എന്നതാണ് നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ കഴിയുന്നത്. എന്നാൽ നാളെ ചെറുപ്പക്കാരുടെ കൈകളിൽ ഭദ്രമാണ് എന്ന നിലയിലേക്ക് ഇതിനെ കൊണ്ടുവരാനുള്ള നല്ല പരിശ്രമം അനിവാര്യമാണ്. ഇന്ന് ലോകത്തും വലിയ തോതിൽ ദുരന്തങ്ങൾ അനുഭവിക്കുകയാണ്. സ്ഥിരമായി ഭൂകമ്പങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ചില രാജ്യങ്ങൾ തന്നെ ഉണ്ട്. ഭൂമിക്കടിയിൽ നടക്കുന്ന ഈ പ്രവർത്തനങ്ങളുടെ ഭാഗമായി അത്തരം രാജ്യങ്ങൾ തുടർച്ചയായി വന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കും. അതേപോലെ നമ്മുടെ രാജ്യത്തെ അയൽ സംസ്ഥാനങ്ങൾ, ബംഗ്ലാദേശ് ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള ഒട്ടേറെ പ്രദേശങ്ങളിൽ അതിഭീകരമായ വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കം ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത് നേരിട്ട് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നതാണ്. നമ്മുടെ അടുത്ത പ്രദേശങ്ങൾ എന്നേലും ന്യൂയോർക്ക് നഗരം അഹങ്കാരത്തോടെ ജീവിക്കുന്ന ഒരു പ്രദേശം എന്ന് നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ കഴിയുമെങ്കിലും ന്യൂയോർക്കിലുണ്ടായ വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കം, അതിന്റെ കെടുതികൾ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടതാണ് വാർത്താ മാധ്യമങ്ങളിലൂടെ. തുടർന്ന് ലോകത്തിന്റെ വിവിധങ്ങളായ രാജ്യങ്ങളിൽ ഇത്തരം പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായി. തുർക്കിയിലുണ്ടായി. നേരത്തെ സ്ഥിരമായി ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ഒരു സ്ഥലം എന്ന നിലക്ക് തുർക്കിയിൽ അത് കണ്ട് ഭൂകമ്പത്തിന്റെ ഏറിയയിൽ കൂടി സിറിയയിൽ ഭൂകമ്പം ഇപ്പോ വന്നിരിക്കുന്നു എന്നതാണ് കാണുന്നത്. നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ തന്നെ ഈ ചില സമയങ്ങളിൽ കിണറുകൾ വല്ലാതെ താണു പോകുന്ന ഒരു അനുഭവം നമ്മുടെ സംസ്ഥാനത്ത് തന്നെ വിവിധങ്ങളായ മേഖലകൾ വരുന്നുണ്ട്. വലിയ പഠനം നടത്തേണ്ടതുണ്ട് എന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് വ്യക്തിപരമായി തോന്നിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. പിന്നെ ചുഴലിക്കാറ്റ് നാം പ്രതീക്ഷിക്കാത്ത രീതിയിൽ വന്ന് കാർഷിക മേഖലയെ പ്രയാസത്തിലാക്കുന്ന സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ 2017 ചുഴലിക്കാറ്റായാലും 2018 വെള്ളപ്പൊക്കത്തിന്റെ കെടുതികളായാലും അതിൽ നിന്ന് നാം ഇനിയും കരകയറിയിട്ടില്ല. അപ്പൊ ഇതൊക്കെ ഇത്തരം പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ നമ്മൾ നേരിടുമ്പോൾ ഈ പ്രകൃതിയെ സംരക്ഷിക്കേണ്ട ബാധ്യത യഥാർത്ഥം നമുക്കുള്ളത്. ഇത് നമുക്ക് ഉപയോഗിക്കാനുള്ളതല്ല, ഭാവി തലമുറയെ ഏൽപ്പിച്ചു കൊടുക്കാനുള്ളതാണ് എന്ന ധാരണയോടുകൂടിയാണ് യഥാർത്ഥത്തിൽ നാം നിൽക്കേണ്ടത് എന്ന് ഈ അവസരത്തിൽ ഞാൻ ഓർമ്മിക്കുകയാണ്. പക്ഷെ വലിയ തോതിലുള്ള പ്രകൃതി ചൂഷണം നടത്തുന്ന ഒരു സമൂഹമായി നാം മാറുമ്പോൾ അതിന്റെ ഈ നാം ചെയ്യുന്ന എത്രമാത്രം കുറ്റകരമായ ഒരു ജീവിത സാഹചര്യമാണ്, അനുഭവമാണ് നാം പിന്തുടരുന്നത് എന്നൊരു ആത്മപരിശോധന നാം നടത്തിയേ പറ്റൂ എന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് സൂചിപ്പിക്കാനുള്ളത്. അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ ശാസ്ത്രം പുരോഗതിയിലേക്ക്, ശാസ്ത്ര നന്മ നന്മയ്ക്ക് വേണ്ടിയായിരിക്കണം ശാസ്ത്രത്തിന്റെ പുരോഗതി എന്ന് പറയുമെങ്കിലും പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക്കിന്റെ ഉപയോഗം വല്ലാതെ കൂടി ഇന്ന് മണ്ണിലായാലും ജലത്തിലായാലും കരയിലായാലും കടലിലായാലും ഇത് വലിയ തോതിൽ വരികയാണ്. അത് നമ്മുടെ വീടുകളിൽ നിന്ന് എത്രമാത്രം നമുക്ക് ലഘൂകരിച്ചെടുക്കാൻ കഴിയുമെന്ന് ആലോചിക്കണം. ഐക്യരാഷ്ട്ര സംഘടന ഉൾപ്പെടെ ലോകത്തിന്റെ എല്ലാ മേഖലകളിലും രാജ്യങ്ങളും നമുക്ക് ഇതിൽ നിന്ന് എങ്ങനെ മോചിപ്പിക്കാൻ കഴിയും? മണ്ണിനോട് ചേരുന്ന ഉൽപ്പന്നങ്ങളല്ലാതെ ഇത്തരം ഉൽപ്പന്നങ്ങൾ ഉൽപ്പാദിപ്പിക്കുന്നതിന് എങ്ങനെ പിന്തിരിയാൻ കഴിയുമെന്നതിനെ കുറിച്ച് ഗൗരവപൂർവ്വം ആലോചിക്കണമെന്ന് സൂചിപ്പിക്കുകയാണ്. ഇതുപോലൊരു പരിപാടിയിൽ ദീർഘമായ ഒരു പ്രസംഗത്തിന്റെ സമയത്തിന്റെ പരിമിതി എനിക്കറിയാൻ, കേൾക്കാൻ നമുക്ക് താല്പര്യമുണ്ടാവില്ല. അപ്പൊ ഏതായാലും മഴ വളരെ കുറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ ജീവിത സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ കാർഷിക മേഖലയുടെയും ജീവിത സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ തകരാൻ പോവുകയാണ്. മഴ വല്ലാതെ കുറയുന്നു എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് ആശങ്കയാണ്, കാർഷിക മേഖല തകരുന്നു. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ കുടിവെള്ളത്തിന്റെ പ്രശ്നം വല്ലാത്ത പ്രശ്നങ്ങളിലേക്ക് പോവുകയാണ്. ഭൂഗർഭജലത്തിന്റെ അളവ് വല്ലാതെ കുറഞ്ഞുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു സാഹചര്യം കൂടിയാണ് ഉള്ളത്. അപ്പൊ ഇതിൽ ഇപ്പൊ തുലാവർഷം കുറച്ച് ശക്തിപ്പെടുമെന്നാണ് കാലാവസ്ഥാ നിരീക്ഷണ കേന്ദ്രങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നും പഠനങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നും മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞത്. തുലാവർഷമാണ് നമുക്ക് ഏറ്റവും നല്ലത്. മഴ സംഭരിക്കാൻ പറ്റിയ കിണറുകളിലൊക്കെ തന്നെ വെള്ളം കിട്ടുന്നതും കാർഷിക മേഖലയ്ക്കും ഏറ്റവും നല്ലത് തുലാവർഷമാണ്. അത് കിട്ടുമെന്നൊരു പ്രതീക്ഷയാണുള്ളത്. ഏതായാലും അത്തരമൊരു സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ ഇതിൽ നിന്നെല്ലാം മോചിപ്പിക്കാനുള്ള ശ്രമത്തിൽ ഈ നാട് ഞങ്ങളുടെ കയ്യിൽ ഭദ്രമാണ്. വരും തലമുറയെ ഏൽപ്പിച്ചു കൊടുക്കാനുള്ള ജീവിതത്തിലെ കർമ്മമണ്ഡലത്തിലെ മുഖ്യ ചുമതലയായി ഞങ്ങൾ ഏറ്റെടുക്കുമെന്ന് ചെറുപ്പക്കാർ പ്രതിജ്ഞയെടുക്കണം എന്ന് മാത്രം ഓർമ്മപ്പെടുത്തിക്കൊണ്ട് വിശ്വാസം അർപ്പിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് കേരള
വിജയൻ സാർ മ്യൂട്ട് ആയിപ്പോയി.
ഹലോ
വിജയൻ സാറിന്റെ മ്യൂട്ട് ആയിപ്പോയി സാർ. ഒന്ന്
വിജയ സാറിന്റെ കഴിഞ്ഞോ?
മ്യൂട്ട് ആയിപ്പോയി സാർ.
Joe, you can unmute him. Joe, you can unmute him.
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ? താങ്ക് യു സാർ.
No, Joe, you have to unmute him.
സാർ അൺമ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്യാമോ?
വിജയ സാറിന്റെ അല്ലേ മ്യൂട്ട് ആയത്? വിജയ സാറിന്റെ ആണോ മ്യൂട്ട് ആയത്?
സാർ പറഞ്ഞു സാർ, ഇപ്പൊ കേൾക്കാം.
കഴിഞ്ഞോ? Okay. Thank you, sir. Then I invite Shri K.L. Ravu, Chief UNICEF, for delivering the keynote address.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Sorry, I'm in airport, so there.
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just about to get into the flight. Thank you very much for this organizing this online session. First of all, thank you very much to Shri VIjayan, who is the chairman of Environment Committee of the Niyama and also vice chairman of the State Platform on Climate Action for Children and Youth. He, along with the honorable speaker, has been a pillar of support for the collaboration between UNICEF and KLAMS. As you all aware, and also thanks to Shri M.S. Vijayan and also Mr. G.P. Unnikrishnan. As you are all aware, in 1989, United Nations General Assembly designated 13th October as the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction. This is essentially to promote global culture of disaster risk reduction. This International Day is an opportunity to acknowledge global progress in preventing and reducing disaster risk and losses. As we are all aware, the theme for 2023 is fighting inequality for a resilient future. Children, women, girls in particular, and persons with disabilities are disproportionately affected due to climate-induced extremism. UNICEF UNICEF Chennai office is very happy to actually work with Kerala government on ensuring that piloting of what is called shock responsive social protection, which is essentially whenever disaster strikes, the most affected people are people with disabilities. So in order to ensure that the disproportionately affected people, within that the most marginalized communities, and within that also people with disabilities, how do we support them, ensure the government schemes reach them at the right time, is one of our objectives. And we are glad that government of Kerala has given us go ahead to pilot this in one of the Gram Panchayats. So as the 2023 editions takes place, after the midterm review of Sendai framework for DRR 2015-30, where the General Assembly has adopted a political declaration to accelerate action to strengthen disaster resilience. So in this context, we can see that as per the World Disaster Report by International Red Cross records 529 disasters globally in 2021, out of which around 338 are climate related. According to this report, India is amongst the 10 most affected countries and highest fatalities. Around 4,743 happened in India. So this shows the impact that India was very highly compared to other countries in South Asia. Similarly, of course, Kerala has also witnessed some of the extreme climate events. So it is important to note that in this kind of scenarios, it's youth that has to be brought into the forefront on climate action. So preparedness among youth to face climate change is critical. Youth have the power to mobilize, converge, and influence the community as well as the decision makers. So UNICEF is glad to partner with KLAMS and Government of Kerala to create this platform for youth to involve them in this cause. So 2 years back, along with KLAMS and KLAMS, UNICEF has jointly formulated a state-level platform on climate action for children and youth in June 2022. Since then, there have been 2 programs that we have conducted. It has been convened twice in 16 November 2022, and second was 5th June 2023. During these deliberations, it was suggested to have an online meeting, a session for youth representatives to enhance their knowledge and awareness on climate action. I'm glad to say that today is the first of such a series of events which will continue up to for the next 6 months. That is what we have drawn up schedule for the next 6 months. We'll continue to have these sessions on a monthly basis, which will provide an opportunity for all the youth to participate and also learn through some technical sessions. Thank you very much, and I wish all the best for all the participants. Once again, thanks to KLAMS and Nima Sabha for giving us this opportunity. Over to you, Joe.
Thank you so much, sir. Then I invite Dr. Mahendra Rajaram for vote of thanks.
Sir, I would like to invite the Disaster and Risk Resilience Officer, UNICEF Hyderabad Office, for Mr. Dr. Mahendra Rajaram, sir, for the vote of thanks and the concluding of the first session.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fatima, for inviting me to give this vote of thanks on this very important occasion. First and foremost, I would like to thank our chief guest who has been here, especially Sir E.K. VIjayan, for taking his time for being with youth and children from his busy schedule as a member of assembly and other activities. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And I would like to thank our chief, Mr. K.L. Rao, in spite of his busy schedule, is also on travel to Kerala on official work and taking his time to be with us on his journey to give a keynote address and putting forth the idea that we need to take forward to work with children and youth. And most importantly, the speaker, both speaker and the secretary of Niyam Sabha not present here, their support that we cannot miss out because they're constantly enabling us and supporting this initiative. In their absence in this forum, I also thank them. At the same time, the team at KLAMS, Mr. VIjayan, Mr. Krishnan, and the score of officers and support staff in the sections who have been constant support to our interventions and initiatives. I thank them on this platform today. But most importantly, the youth and children of Kerala, especially those who are present here today, have taken time on this Friday evening, in spite of, I do know that many of them are having their exams, midterm exams before Dasara holidays. I've taken time to be here for the very interest that they want to save this one earth where only life exists, protecting the human life, protecting the animal life, protecting the sea life, protecting the environment and ecology. It takes a lot of energy and patience and be part of this entire process. Thank you for being with us and enriching our work and supporting the initiative in Kerala. I thank everybody for being present here and hope our key speaker from QSET will enable us to learn more and guide us in this process. Thank you, one and all. Over to you, Fatima.
So thank you for your valuable time. So next, let's get started to the technical session series. The first of our sessions, which is to be continued for the next 6 months. I would like to invite Dr. Ablash, the MSc. He got MSc in Meteorology from QSET with first rank and distinction in 2001, and doctoral degree in Atmospheric Science from QSET in the year 2009. He is the Director of Advanced Center for Atmospheric Radar Research, Cochin University of Science and Technology. I heartily welcome Dr. Ablash for the starting of the session to tell us about climate change and extreme weather events in the context of India and Kerala. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Fatima, and other UNICEF officers for this opportunity. So let me share my screen first.
Just an announcement. Sorry, Dr. Ablash. പല സ്ഥലങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നായിട്ട് പല സ്റ്റുഡൻസ് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ ഈ ഒരു സെഷൻ ക്ലൈമറ്റ് ചേഞ്ച് ആൻഡ് എക്സ്ട്രീം ഇവന്റ്സിനെ കുറിച്ചാണ് ഡോക്ടർ അഭിലാഷ് എടുക്കുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ ഈ സെഷനെ ബേസ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ചില ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് അവസാനം നമ്മൾ ക്വിസ് ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു ക്വിസ് നടത്തുന്നുണ്ട്. സോ ഐ തിങ്ക് യു ഓൾ ക്യാൻ ബി അറ്റൻഡീവ് ആൻഡ് സ്കോർ full mark in the quiz, which will follow after the session. Over to you, Dr. Ablash. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think my screen is visible, right?
Yes, Dr. Ablash.
Yeah. It's moving. It's okay?
Yes.
Yeah. So today I will be talking on climate change and extreme weather events. So I think this August audience might have learned much about this, the problem of climate change, science of climate change, but I will briefly go through the climate change issues and extreme weather events, and then finally the people-centered early warning system for disaster risk reduction. So this is today's satellite image. So where I am sitting is exactly here. So this is the place. This is the image, satellite image, and now it is almost like full of cloudy. So here, almost over Cochin and Thrissur district, so very deep clouds and lightning activities going on. So I don't know whether if there is kind of power disruption, so it may be affected. So this is today's situation. So let us start with this slide, because the previous speaker already mentioned about the uniqueness of the Earth. Why life only on the Earth? It is mainly because of two factors. One is Earth is situated at an optimum distance from the Sun. It's almost like 150 million kilometers. Not exactly, but average distance. And then if I replace Jupiter to the position of the Earth, whether can I expect the same climate or Jupiter? The answer is no. Why? It is because it is not just about the distance between the Sun and the Earth, or the Sun and any planet. It is the uniqueness of the planet is also equally contributing to making the unique temperature or the unique life or unique forms of water on any planet. So that is what the uniqueness of the planet is. Nothing but the unique atmosphere. We can derive the equilibrium temperature of any planet based on this Stefan-Boltzmann's law, where S is the solar constant, that is the energy coming from the sun, and A is the albedo, it is the reflectivity property of any planet, and theta is the absorptivity, that represents greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere. If you look at compare three bigger planets close to Earth, Mars and Venus, we can say that though Venus comes to second position of Earth, but Venus temperature is more than Mercury, because even though Venus is situating to the second position just before Earth, but that is mainly because of Venus atmosphere contain a very dense atmosphere, because the Venus atmosphere is having almost like 100 times more pressure than the Earth atmosphere. So which contains almost like, even though the albedo of Venus is around 78%, that means 78% of the incoming solar energy is being reflected back. So naturally, if albedo is more, means planet should have very less temperature, equilibrium temperature. So now this albedo, the high albedo of Venus, is mainly compensated by the large amount of carbon dioxide concentration. That is around 96% of carbon dioxide is compensating for this highest albedo of Venus, so that the Venus temperature is around 737 Kelvin, almost like 500, close to 500 degrees Celsius. So that is what the atmosphere of the planet is the main thing which is making that unique temperature of each planet. And then come to Earth's case, it is the albedo of Earth is only 30% compared to Venus albedo, it is only just 30% only. And carbon dioxide concentration, compare with Venus, Venus carbon dioxide concentration is 96%, and our atmospheric carbon dioxide concentration is only less than 0.03%. So that this is what this unique atmosphere, this characteristics is making a planet to a optimum or equilibrium temperature, which is optimum and which is more close to the triple point of water, so that water can exist. A natural range of temperature starting from minus 70 to plus 50. This range of temperature, we can see water or feel water in terms of means as water vapor, liquid water, and solid ice. So that is the beauty of Earth climate. That is mainly because of the optimum temperature of the Earth. So that is what the greenhouse gas is doing. If we can say that the sun's energy, which is coming mostly in the shorter wavelength, which is almost like transparent. Our atmosphere is almost like transparent to sun's energy, and all this energy is reaching at the Earth's surface. And then after absorbing the Earth's surface, according to black body radiation laws, any object above absolute zero is emitting radiation based on their temperature. So if temperature is more, means energy will be more, and energy is more means wavelength will be less. So that means Earth temperature is almost 300 Kelvin average temperature. So that is emitting radiation at a higher wavelength, longer wavelength. The response of this longer wavelength to the atmosphere, the Earth atmosphere, is different. So atmosphere respond differently for incoming shorter wavelength, high energy solar radiation, but its response to the outgoing long wave radiation is differently, mainly because of the presence of greenhouse gas, especially carbon dioxide. So most of this outgoing long wave radiation is absorbed by greenhouse gases and then radiated back. So that means a part of this energy is being trapped within so this atmosphere is actually trapping some of this energy within the Earth atmosphere system, so that it is Earth temperature is equilibrium temperature of Earth is making it in the livable range. So this is what the by equation we can derive that if there is no atmosphere, that means theta absorptivity of atmosphere, theta is 0. Then we can solve this equation and find that a temperature would be around 256. It is almost like minus 60 degrees Celsius. If there is no atmosphere or atmosphere containing no greenhouse gas, Earth temperature would have been minus 16 degrees Celsius. And if you look at that satellite image here, now Earth looks like this shape, because we can identify Earth easily from the satellite image, mainly because of the presence of water. So if Earth would have been minus 16 degrees Celsius, this entire Earth would look like a very snowball, like whitish color. So that is what Earth temperature is not at minus 16 degrees Celsius. But if you add greenhouse gas to the atmosphere, absorptivity is almost like 0.7, 0.8. So then you solve for this equation and you will arrive at a temperature of 289 Kelvin, almost like plus 16 degrees Celsius. So that 32 degrees of warming is contributed by the greenhouse, naturally occurring greenhouse gas. That is what the greenhouse gas is, a blessing. It acts like a blanketing to the Earth atmosphere system. So that atmosphere is a blessing to the Earth system to maintain our equilibrium temperature. So now look at the last 4 lakhs of years. So temperature variation along with this red color is temperature variation, and the blue color is carbon dioxide variation. This is some of the data we can dig out from the ice cores. Here, if you look at it, this is 4 lakhs of years, 400 into 1,000 years. So here we can see that Earth climate, Earth temperature never remained constant. It was fluctuating between glacial and interglacial period. That is definitely related to natural oscillation, natural climate variability. So because we know that human, especially the Homo sapiens, evolved maybe within 2 lakhs and 150 lakhs of years. So that means before that also climate was fluctuating like anything. So that fluctuation was mainly contributed from natural factors, natural variability within the climate system rather than anthropogenic activities. What I want to say here is that the carbon dioxide concentration is given in the right axis. If you look at this line, this is this violet line. That violet line of almost like 300 to 280 parts per million volume carbon dioxide is considered as the natural threshold limit of carbon dioxide. So even though the temperature was fluctuating, or the carbon dioxide was fluctuating between 200 and 300 ppm between two interglacial cycles, but it never shooted up above 300 ppm. That may be considered as the natural threshold limit of carbon dioxide maybe in the last 1 million years. Before that also, we cannot imagine what was the climate during when Earth was formed, and then later. That's a big story. The climate history of Earth is a big story. So that is a different thing. But what I want to say here is that though the carbon dioxide was varying between 200 and 300, that variation was happening over a period of like 75,000 to 1 lakh years. One in glacial and interglacial, between one interglacial cycle, there is a time scale of like 75,000 to 1 lakh of years. So now what is happening is that if you just consider last 100 years, so the threshold, the carbon dioxide concentration has shooted up above this threshold value and now reaching almost like 420 ppm, 120 ppm on top of the natural limit. So that 120 ppm to make it 420 ppm in the last, that 120 ppm increase in carbon dioxide had happened in just 100 years, or even less than 100 years, mainly after 1950s. So this is what this time scale is the main thing. So this time scale is happening over a period of larger period. So that is naturally occurring time scale. But the rate at which the carbon dioxide concentration is increasing in the atmosphere in the last 100 years or 70 years is the main thing. So that rate of increase is the main change. So now, so these are some of the causes of climate change. This is naturally occurring because solar luminosity, faint young sun paradox theory is also there. When Earth was formed 4.56 billion years back, that time sun was emitting almost like 30% less energy compared to today's level. So that means sun's energy is also changing, and also another main thing is the Milankovitch cycle that is connected to the orbital changes in the Earth. So that is happening over a period of like there are different eccentricity, tilt of the axis, precision of the axis. All this connected together is making this glacial interglacial cycles. That is happening over a period of like 75,000 to 1 lakh years. So that is what this the main forcing for this glacial interglacial cycle in a different time scale. And another factor is like tectonics, ocean tectonics was the main thing which shaped almost like the orientation of all our continent with respect to ocean. That shaped the Earth climate today. So that is what plate tectonics was also very important. Volcanic activity was very, very important. All this together is making the Earth climate in a that is why Earth climate was changing all the time. Never remained at a particular range of temperature, but it was changing. But that changes was happening over a period of like lakhs of years, millions of years, billions of years. But Now what is happening as the things which had happened in the Earth's atmosphere or Earth system over a period of lakhs of years, millions of years, that is happening in just 50 years, 20 years time scale. So that time scale is mainly important when we deal with anthropogenic induced climate change. So that is what the difference. Climate was changing, but now it is changing because of the human activities. So it is a climate system. It is a constant, because climate system together is composed of land, lithosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere, atmosphere. All this together is making our Earth climate in a definite range. So the constant exchange of mass, energy, and everything is between all these spheres is making the Earth in a stable state. So if you look at the inclination, solar inclination is very much important. So that is why at the equator we are getting more radiation in the perpendicular direction. So that means radiation is reaching at the surface of the equator, between especially the tropics. Perpendicular radiation is reaching, and then in the polar region it is on a slanting position, so that the energy density, energy received at the surface, will be less over polar region, more over the tropical region. So that energy imbalance, that gradient is actually the main thing which is making this whole atmospheric circulation, ocean circulation, and all. That is what the excess energy available in the tropical region is being transported to the polar region, where deficit energy, because the outgoing long wave radiation is uniformly distributed everywhere on the Earth's surface. So that leads to a surplus of energy in tropics and the deficit in energy in the polar region. That surplus energy is being transported to the polar region through ocean currents, wind patterns, and so that is what this energy imbalance is the actual dynamism. That is providing the dynamism to the Earth atmospheric system. And if you look at there are a lot of processes happening in the Earth atmosphere system. We cannot name each one, and all this process, whatever we are seeing as the climate change, is the combination of the net effect of all this process. For example, snow ice albedo feedback process. That is a kind of feedback process. If I already told in that equation, there is a term called albedo A. Albedo is the reflective property of the Earth atmospheric system. Our albedo is 30% and Venus albedo is 78%. That's why even though Venus albedo, that's most of the radiation, 78%, the meaning is that 78% of the solar radiation reaching at the top of the atmosphere in Venus is being reflected back. In our case, Earth case, it is 30. So snow is the best reflecting surface. So if snow is melting means due to global warming, polar ice caps and glaciers are melting. So that melting of snow results in albedo to reduce. If albedo reducing means from 30% to 20%, more solar energy is being absorbed by the Earth. So that itself will heat up the Earth atmospheric system. In turn, that warming of Earth atmospheric system again further melt down more ice in the polar region. So that is a kind of positive feedback. There are feedback mechanism involving aerosols, greenhouse gas, everything. And there are many complex processes happening in the Earth system. But the net effect of all this process is mainly contributed from the anthropogenic greenhouse gases, because that produces a kind of positive feedback, the positive radiative free imbalance in the Earth atmosphere system. That is what after all this complex process, that is what pictorially it is being represented in this image. After the distribution of all this effect, naturally if there is a equilibrium temperature, means our incoming solar radiation has to be balanced with the outgoing long wave radiation, so that the Earth temperature will remain in the equilibrium state. But now there is a positive energy imbalance. So that imbalance is almost like something around 0.9 watts per meter square. So this looks very small, but it is very huge. 0.9 watts per meter square. If you look at the total energy consumption in 2000, it was around 5.7 terawatts. If you look at this 0.9 watts per meter square and multiply with the total area of the Earth's surface, so we can get almost like 500 terawatts of energy. all over the world, if you look at the all over the globe. So that means compared to 5.7 terawatts need of energy generation, this imbalance itself is producing 500 terawatts, almost like 100 times more. So that much energy, though, in another sense, we can say that this 1 watt, close to 1 watt per meter square energy, we can light up a 1 watt LED bulb each and every point, each and every square meters on the Earth's surface. So that much energy imbalance is happening. That is the main thing for global warming. So that is the technical and scientific explanation of global warming. So this is the pictorial representation. Natural greenhouse gas act like a single blanketing effect, but more and more carbon dioxide containing atmosphere act like a double blanketing effect, so that Earth atmosphere system is getting heated up due to this effect. And now, so that is happening mainly because of the human activities. Earlier, humans have been considered as part of this biosphere, but now human is becoming another sphere is introduced, like anthroposphere, where human becoming a geological type forcing to alter the functioning of the Earth system. So that is why a new era has been started, like Anthropocene or something, but that is also debatable. So the Western world is populating that meaning that all human beings are equally responsible for this havoc, but in reality it is not like that. But the combined effect of what we are seeing as the energy imbalance is mainly because of, if you look at the carbon budget, we can say that all activities, like earlier our metabolic activities, the only that is naturally releasing carbon dioxide to the atmosphere, but now through anthropogenic, along with the natural process, almost like 9 gigaton carbon is being ejected to the atmosphere. Out of that, there is 2 main sinks for carbon dioxide. One is the forest cover, which is absorbing almost 3 gigaton carbon, and then our ocean is also absorbing 2.5 gigaton carbon. So that means that leads to a net carbon storage. Every year, almost like, this is yearly budget, every year almost like 4.5 gigaton carbon. It is equivalent to 35 to 40 gigaton carbon dioxide equivalent. So that is dumping to the atmosphere. That is what, if you look at the curve, we can see that the carbon dioxide concentration along with the global temperature change, that is going like a hockey stick. So this pattern is very evident. That is mainly because of the anthropogenic activities. We can establish this with numerical models, because if you run our models and compare with the pre-industrial time scale, the temperature of the Earth, then if we consider only natural process, whatever I have mentioned in the earlier slides, only consider natural process, no greenhouse gas effect, anthropogenic greenhouse gas effect, then the model will produce like a simulated natural factors only. It will come to almost like 0.2 degree Celsius warmer compared to the pre-industrial period. This is the baseline period, 1850 to 1900. So now when we add all the anthropogenic forces like anthropogenic greenhouse effect, along with the natural forcing, then this is the observed temperature. That red curve represents the observed temperature. Then when we add the anthropogenic factors, then only we will get our equation, or the model will simulate exactly what we are observed. So that means, so theoretically we can establish that the anthropogenic activity is the main thing for this global warming. So another way of measuring this is, if you look at the Earth atmosphere system, already I mentioned the total heat storage in the Earth atmosphere system is going to ocean, because if you consider 70% surface area, but if you consider the total mass of this water contained in the ocean, it is almost like 93% of water. That mass of water is almost like 3 orders of magnitude higher than the atmosphere and land. So that 93% of total heat which is dumped to the atmosphere is being absorbed in the ocean. So if you measure the ocean heat content, so that we can measure with the satellites and other measurement techniques. So if we can measure that ocean heat content, and if how that ocean heat content is increasing over the years, that will also give a kind of indication that the Earth energy imbalance is increasing over the year. So this is the satellite derived ocean heat content, we can see that starting from 2005 onwards, the energy imbalance was almost like 0.2 watts per meter square, maybe 2 decades back. But now it is reaching almost like 1 watts per meter square, equivalent to 1.2 degrees Celsius increase in temperature. So this is how there are many ways by which we can derive that the human-induced greenhouse gas effect is making this all this havoc. Then the climate change assessment cycle, that is what the IPCC started. IPCC is nothing but Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. They come up with, they started in 1988, but they come up with the first assessment report in 1919 saying to the global policy makers that if we continue to emit like this, we will end up with a lot of extreme weather even in future. Maybe three decades back. But now we are realizing when IPCC when IPCC released assessment report sixth assessment cycle, and the report in last 2 years back, 2021. So there we realized that we are living in a situation where extreme weather events are happening all over the world. So that is what IPCC and the scientific community warned about this situation. That is what the Kyoto Protocol and all came, and we have conference of parties started from started regularly every year. Now that's the process. The science behind all this problem was very clear, maybe 3-4 decades back. So that is where IPCC is continuously warning the global nation and leaders to take immediate action. That is what is coming like a detection, attribution, impact assessment, adaptation, mitigation cycle. So this is the essence of this latest IPCC AR6 report. Recent changes in the climate are widespread, rapid, and intensifying, and unprecedented in the thousands of years. So this is what the takeaway message from the recent IPCC report. Earlier, there was not much confidence that human is the only culprit. But now they are confidently saying that human activity, anthropogenic activity, is producing all these things. And then this assessment cycle, the latest assessment cycle AR6, they have produced 3 main reports, like working group report 1, 2, and 3. One is for the physical science basis, another is for the impact, adaptation, and vulnerability, and another is for the mitigation of climate change, along with the special reports of global warming 1.5 degrees, climate change and land climate change and cryosphere ocean. So these are some of the IPCC. Based on these reports, which is published last year, 2022, this forms the basis for the negotiation to be happening in the COP28 that is going to be held in UAE this year. And the main agenda item for this COP28 is going to be the generation of loss and damage agreement, because already in COP27 there was a lot of consensus in making US $100 billion every year to give to the global South nations, like developing nations, underdeveloped nations, to cope up with this extreme, to manage this, to adapt to this extreme events. So that was there, that almost all participating countries were agreed upon, but that the mechanism through which this fund has been mobilized has not been yet finalized. So the COP28 is especially looking forward to have a mechanism to develop this fund and distribute this fund. Even this $100 billion is not enough to meet the adaptation needs of other global South. That is what the inequality on the global scale, what is happening. This problem is created by the global North, but the effect is more realized in the global South. So that is why IPCC come up with a regular assessment report. Through CMIP6, they are giving projections for the future. So they used to have, because these projections are not really not like a weather prediction. It is not prediction. It is projections are some of the scenarios the IPCC is putting all the way from starting from assessment report, first assessment report onwards. They are giving this type of projection for the future warning that, giving warning that the global leaders or the global policy makers has to take stringent measures to reduce the emission of greenhouse gas. So that this assessment cycle, they have produced 5 scenarios. Like it is like in front of us we have 5 pathways, 5 different roads. It is up to us to take which road we have to reach the destination. So that is what the assessment, the projection concept is. So earlier it was purely based on physical laws, like how much is the energy imbalance by the end of 2100. So that is considering only the representative concentration pathways. Now it is being replaced by it is combined with the shared socio-economic pathways. That's what the SSP, shared socio-economic pathways. Anyway, if you consider any of these pathways, we means the most probable pathways, we will be reaching almost like 2-degree warmer by 2100. Now it is 1.2 degree warmer. So this 1.2 degree warmer itself is creating lot of problem to our entire life. Like this climate change impact, it is realized as rise in temperature and changes in the hydrological cycle. It is irrelevant to say that the rainfall is increasing or decreasing, but the rainfall variability is increasing, so that the hydrological cycle is getting accelerated. And another immediate effect of this is sea level rise, because we know that Indonesia and other few countries, they are changing their capital from the coastal cities, and all our coastal cities, even our west coast and east coast is not an exception. So that means all coastal cities are facing this sea level rise problem. And in essence, we can say that impact is realized in health, water, forest, ecosystem, biodiversity, agriculture, and food productivity. But today we are discussing more on the direct impact of climate change. That is what the disasters produced by the extreme weather events. Extreme weather events, in terms of all these extreme events, are happening all over the world. So even in Kerala also we are realizing this. So if these are some of the events happening all over the world. And our ocean is also getting changed. As I told, 90% of heat is consumed by the ocean. 25% of carbon dioxide is stored in the absorbed by the ocean. So that the ocean pH value, the ocean is becoming more acidic, more warmer, less oxygen content. So that leads to bleaching of coral reefs, toxic algae blooms, acidification of the other. That will going to affect the fishing sector. That will means going to affect the local communities, ecosystem people. They are the artisanal fishers. They are directly depending on the ocean for their sustainability or their livelihood. So this is how the risk, if you consider the risk, this is the famous risk equation. It is a function of hazard, vulnerability, exposure, capacity to cope. But the hazard itself is changing due to climate change, because hazard, there is 2 factors. One is frequency and other is intensity of the hazard. So that both the frequency, because earlier time scale or earlier past climate also, we have a different type of extreme events. But thing is that due to climate change, both frequency and intensity of the hazard is increasing. So this is increasing. So this is directly going to add more risk to the communities. And another, vulnerability, exposure, capacity to cope. This is connected to the socio-economic and environmental factors, because exposure is connected to the people and asset which is exposed to these assets, and the vulnerability is mostly connected to the poverty or the environmental conditions. And then capacity to cope is nothing but the framework, the institutional framework to cope up with, to support these people to cope up with this situation, or especially to adapt to the situation. So that earlier risk is getting affected, and it is increasing in all terms. Like hazard is increasing, exposure, more and more people is getting exposed to the hazard, and then vulnerability is increasing due to poverty or inequality, and then environmental degradation. So these are some of the things the things are becoming more complicated and complex. And if you look at the distribution of the disasters in 2022 itself, we can say that most of the highest amount of disasters is happening in the Asia, Africa, and Pacific Island nations. And if you look at the death, lot of death is also happening over this domain. But economic loss is more in the US. So if you rank. Because there itself we can see the inequality in the distribution of the death and the economic loss. Because if you look at you rank the top 10 disasters in terms of death, total number of deaths, we can find that the first 10 rank will goes to most of the developing and underdeveloped nations, because starting with Ethiopia, Bangladesh, Sudan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, all these underdeveloped nations are feeling more from these disasters. And then if you look at the rank this based on economic value, then we can say that all major 5 disasters is happened in the United States. If you look at the 2005 case itself, Katrina, Harvey, Maria, Irma, Sandy, Andrew, all these cyclones, hurricanes together is producing almost like all together more than $1 trillion loss. So this is how inequality in terms of death and inequality in terms of economic loss. So if you look at the global spectrum of disasters, nowadays apart from the other geophysical disasters, most of the economic loss is happening from extreme weather events like extreme weather, flood, storms. Extreme weather in terms of extreme rainfall, heat waves, and storms. They all together is making a lot of economic loss in the recent times. So if you come to India, also it's not an exception, because our land is prone to drought, forest fires, earthquake, that is geophysical hazard, then flood, heat wave, cold wave, landslides, cyclones, heavy rainfall, thunderstorms, lightning. All these are the common disasters happening over India. And if you look at the Arabian Sea as part of climate change, Arabian Sea is warming at a higher rate. If you look at the rate, Arabian Sea is warming at a rate of 1.2 degrees Celsius in the last 117 years. But the Pacific is warming almost like 0.7 degree Celsius. So this is what the rapid Indian Ocean warming is happening. That is producing what? That is producing more and more cyclonic storms in the North Indian Ocean. If you look at the last 40 years, breakdown into 2 decades each, 1980 to 2000, if you look at the distribution of storms, cyclones over Arabian Sea, it is very less compared to Bay of Bengal. But in the recent 2 decades, the Bay of Bengal distribution is almost remained same, but Arabian Sea distribution of cyclonic storm is getting more wider, and the intensity is also increasing. So this is what it is the famous Oki case. What had happened is that there's a process of rapid intensification. So normally the cyclone will become a disaster when it reaches a very intense stage, because that intense stage from a depression to the cyclone takes almost like 1 day, 2 days. But in the case of Oki, it took place from depression to severe cyclone stage. It took place in just less than 12 hours. So that is what the rapid intensification, that is mainly because of the ocean warming. So, and coming to Kerala, Kerala is also not an exception, because starting from 2015 onwards, we are recurrently seeing the heat wave events, drought events. Every monsoon season, beginning of the monsoon season, we are getting kind of drought situation. This year also in June, we have witnessed almost like 60% deficit rain. That end up in the seasonal rain deficit of -34%. And from starting from Oki onwards, we are seeing that we are hearing the word depression, Nunavardham, Chakravarti Chudi every day. Even today also we are hearing the word Chakravarti Chudi and Nunavardham. Every day it is coming to close to our land. This is also this October-November season is also a cyclonic season. We can expect some cyclones either in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea maybe in the coming weeks. So, and then the floods and landslide is becoming very chronic issue, because starting from 2018 onwards, every year, even this year, though we are at -34% deficit case for seasonal scale, but we had means even Trivandrum and Pathanamthitta, all this district had lot of flash flood and landslide events. Even we are sitting in a drought situation. So this is how the variability of the rainfall is increasing. Though we are talking more about the Adishaktamaya Maya or the extremely heavy rainfall, but we are sitting at on the negative side of rainfall. If you look at the last 12 years of rainfall departure, even including this year, we can find that rainfall is most of the years rainfall is on the negative side, but 2-3 spell coming in between, that is making the havoc. If you look at the 5-day accumulated rainfall during the 2018, 19, and 20 flood, we can find that this accumulation is almost like 1200 millimeter, like 120 centimeter for 5 days. in 2018, it is more over Idiki, 2019, Kavalapara Puttumala event, and 2020, Pettimudi event, and even 2021, Kutikal Kokar. All this event we received almost like a 2-month worth rain in just 5 days. 120 centimeters of rain is just, in a season we are getting 200, in a monsoon season we are getting altogether in 4 months 200 centimeters of rain. But this 120 centimeters in 5 days means it's very huge. So that means 2 months worth rain is produced in just 5 days. So that is what the rainfall structure is changing. That is mainly because of the cloud structure over the Arabian Sea and especially over Kerala is changing. Earlier it was very, very thin clouds, shallow clouds that getting deeper. That is what more and more lightning activities is even seen during a monsoon season also. So this is producing, this has the potential to produce mini cloudburst events that leads to flash floods and landslides. So this is a best example in 2018. So this blue color, which represents, it's a proxy of this infrared brightness temperature from the satellite. This is a proxy to deep clouds. So wherever there is blue shade means clouds are very deep, and wherever there is yellow to orange shade, clouds are very shallow. So if you look at this image, this animation, in 2018, the clouds were more or less very shallow, which is there's no much blue color. But in 2019, what happened? Most of this blue color which produced in the Arabian Sea, Southeast Arabian Sea, that intruded towards land and produced, especially the northern Kerala, Kavalapara, Puttumala, that landslide events. In Kutikal Kokayar event also 2021, most of this deep clouds intruded towards land and created a situation near pyramid. So that produced a lot of havoc in pyramids. If you look at though that day, all over Kerala, we received almost like more than 12 centimeters of rain everywhere. But most of the rain is concentrated, heavy rain is concentrated over Kutikal Kokayar and Pyramid Belt, where most of the deep clouds were concentrated. So this is how the link between the deep clouds and heavy rains. So that way we name it as a mini cloudburst event. So, and if you look at the Tokte cyclones, after Oki 2021, there was a Tokte cyclone. And this year also, Biparjoy went all the way up to Gujarat from Lakshadweep side. So before that, in 2021, Tokte cyclone just formed west of Lakshadweep and went all the way to Gujarat coast. But this is the image from, not from Gujarat, this is the image from Chellanam and Viper region. So a cyclone which is going away from, even Oki also, not even came and hit Kerala. It was just going close to Kerala. That produced a lot of havoc. And this Tokte also, even just imagine a cyclone which is going 100 or 200 kilometers away from the coast, that produced this much havoc. Then just imagine if a cyclone in future may come directly and hitting Kerala. So that will produce a lot of impact. And this cyclonic effect is having a kind of compound and cascading effect that can produce heavy rain, flooding, storm surge. So that all together is making the problem. And then coming to the heat wave, even there's Kerala is also becoming like due to high humidity, heat-related illness, heat-related strokes, and heat exhaustion. All this process is going to come in Kerala in future climate. That is mainly because of the rapid urbanization is also contributing to this, and along with the presence of high humidity. And ultraviolet radiation is coming around the March season. The ultraviolet, the vertical rise of ultraviolet is reaching the surface. So that ultraviolet index is also very high. So this all together is making a lot of health related issues in Kerala in the summer season. And then there is a lot of inequality. This health related, the heat wave related issues that is not distributed uniformly across different communities, because those who are elderly, it depends on gender or age, and then the type of physical work they are doing. So that is distributed differently. So that the estimate is that by 2100, more and more people will be getting exposed to heat wave events. And the lightning activities today also, we are all witnessing the lightning activity all over especially in the southern and central Kerala. And the lightning activity is also going to increase over not only Kerala, the entire Indian region. So that the Kerala is becoming a kind of multi-weather hazard hotspot in terms of heavy rain, lightning, tropical cycle. This deepening of clouds are also indirectly contributing to the wind gust. That is what the speakers were already mentioned about this wind gust. That is also indirectly contributed from the deepening of the clouds. So the high, very dense air mass from the cloud, top of the cloud is coming down and giving means producing a lot of wind gust at the surface. So that is also happening. Storm surge, lightning, drought, heat waves. The only optimism regarding this all problem is that the economic loss, though the economic loss is increasing, but the death rate is reducing. That is the main thing. That is mainly, this success has been attributed mainly to the effective early warning system based on advancement in monitoring, forecasting weather-related hazard, combined with effective communication and emergency preparedness at national and local level. So that is what, in 1999, there was a super cyclone came to Orissa, killed almost like 20,000 people. But Biparjoy this year went to Gujarat. We evacuated almost like 3 lakhs of people from the coast, so that the casualty, the fatality is 0. So 0 fatality we came from 20,000 to 0 fatalities. So that is what the all this type of early warning system combined with the better emergency action plan at the national and local level, leading to less death rate at least. So this is what after the heat action plan implemented in India from 2015 onwards, the death rate dramatically reduced. So this is also another example. So that if you go back to the risk equation, what we can do to reduce the risk is that exposure, vulnerability and all. We cannot discuss much about this, but hazard we can reduce. We cannot prevent a hazard, but at the same time we can predict this hazard well in advance so that people can be escaped from the disaster. So the traditional approach was like, when a disaster onset is happening, then the people will be running away from the disaster. But now the enhanced approach is like that early warning leads to early action. So during disaster there is not much involvement, because there is only less time available to respond to this during disaster. And then immediately after the disaster, if you can reduce the death rate, we can directly go back for other activities. So that's what the benefit of having enhanced the early warning system to reduce. So for that, we need kind of urgent multi-hazard early warning system, which is composed of risk knowledge, monitoring, warning, dissemination, communication, response capability. Risk knowledge is nothing but the awareness programs. What we are doing here is also very much contributing to the knowledge of kind of different type of hazard, vulnerability, and the climate risk and data, kind of data management and all. Then monitoring and warning, we have to be more and more sophisticated forecasting system to warn this events well in advance. Then dissemination, communication, media people has to play a bigger role, and then response capability that is mainly produced from that has to come from the government sector. So this is a humanitarian concept, like we respond to warning, not to the disaster. And these are some of the early warning system developed even during OK time. Also we have given some kind of probability of occurrence of this OK well in advance, and then we have developed some kind of modeling system, ensemble prediction system, and anyway most of the models have a lot of bias, whereas we have corrected that. And then this is the prediction given to 2018 flooding event, and then Kutikal Kokayar 3 days in advance we have predicted that kind of early some event is going to happen, and 2 days every day we update this forecast 2 days in advance, some hint that something big is coming. So that like that we have to convert this type of early warning or forecasting system from a just forecasting of rainfall to a point where impact based forecast has to be built, like not means no rather than predicting the what is the weather and now that prediction has to come like what the weather can do in a local region. So that is we have to integrate many things like weather prediction to the geographical and geological and geomorphological aspects, like to have a efficient flood and landslide warning system. So this is some of the flood warning and the landslide warning in the Kuttikal Kokayar. And also this involves a lot of hazard prediction. Is not a competition, rather a collaboration. Collaboration between academic institute, agencies and communities is the key for any success. So that means that we can divide the disaster management concept as two things. One is risk management and another is emergency management. Risk management main objective is protection of people and life. It is a long-term process, because all this forecasting strategy and everything has to be prepared well in advance. We have to build all these capacities at the local level. But during emergency management, the main concept is to save the life in a short-term process. So early warning is a chain of people linked to chain of actions that makes it work. This is an example. After the OK, we have started a localized weather information service for traditional fishers in the Trivandrum. That is a kind of, we take input from the fishers, and based on their need, we prepare a customized forecast for their requirement. So that is what the co-production of knowledge is very much important. And everyone is listening to this problem, and we are delivering this is through different medias, through voice clips, WhatsApp groups and website, and different way of disseminating this. This is a very, very good example of this type of co-production of knowledge. And we are regularly giving training to these fishers, how to read a weather map, how to respond to a weather forecast. Like that, we are giving regular awareness and training to fishers. And then this is the best example from Wayanad, started by Hume Center, and another is from Meenachil River Basin. The warning is that pace and scale of climate action are insufficient to tackle the climate change. That is what the hope is. The mainstreaming effective and equitable climate action now will reduce the loss and damage for nature and people. That is why in COP28, the main agenda for discussion is the effective mechanism to mobilize the loss and damage fund. The climate action that is based on the equitable climate action, and the climate action provides a lot of scope benefits, and multiple feasible effective options are available to reduce greenhouse gas emission by converting to transforming to a more renewable energy source, to and also adapt to the situation by creating lot more awareness programs, and also by building lot more early warning systems. And then the challenge is cut emission quickly. It's very difficult, sharply to create safer. And the global the global ambition is the net zero emission by 2050. That is what the commitment is, global commitment is. But India is committed to 2070, but Kerala committed to reduce by 2035. So this is a very challenge, because there are a lot of effort is required in terms of greenhouse, carbon dioxide storage, capturing, and the emission reduction and all, then sequestration. So we are in Kerala the next week in 16, 17, 18, we are conducting a national students conclave, because we have developed, started, Kerala government has started as part of a general education program and Samagra Shisha Kerala. They have started around 250 school weather stations to create awareness among the students. And then the climate, this we have to address properly. The climate injustice. There are a lot of already existing social crisis and social injustice. Climate change will add more crisis to this problem to make it more injustice. That is why equitable action is required. So this is our radar center. So we are doing, this is a cutting edge radar center operating at 205 megahertz. It's a kind of state of art in the country itself. So we are collaborating with many national and international agencies, and we are producing a lot of effort in making this awareness program, making this forecasting system to general public, including different stakeholders like farmers in Wayanad and Meenachil River Basin, Chalakudi River Basin, then fishers in Trivandrum. So like that, we are doing a lot of effort in making a lot of awareness program, and also technology-based solution to produce a better early warning system for the safety of the people. So I think I have taken not much time. I think my time was allotted till 8:15. So
Yeah,
1 minute.
thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, so we're having a question from a student. So It's from Febina Mariam. As students, what can we do to work against climate change at micro level?
Yeah, so very good question, because we can do a lot of activities at the individual level and also at the local level. Like, for example, knowing about the climate around your locality is the one thing which we can start with, by measuring and observing the climate and observing the ecosystem, means biodiversity, everything connected to, and some way we can connect these climate factors to ecosystem, biodiversity, everything. So that way you can start locally, and at the same time individually and as a community there are different options available. You cut down your emission. You calculate your climate footprints, like in terms of emission, means how much carbon dioxide equivalent you are using for all your activities, so that a individual level reduction in that, and then migrating from more renewable energy sources. So this way, I think locally you have to come up with local solution for local problem. That is what the challenge is. There is a global meeting locally. When we tackle climate change locally, we should give more focus on adaptation rather than mitigation, because mitigation is a kind of global problem. Because local scale, when we look at climate change in the local level, it is more focus should be given to adaptation options.
Thank you, sir. So it's time for ask any questions related. So let's continue to the sessions. We have the experience sharing session of LCOI by the platform members. So I heartily invite Megha Marialal for giving us a brief of what is LCOI and how often it is held. Over to you, Megha.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So, good evening to all. I'm Megha Marialal, Youth Representative of Climate Action Platform from Ernakulam District. So, currently, I'm doing my post-graduation in Intellectual Property from Cochin University of Science and Technology. So, today, I'm really glad to share our experience regarding LCOI. So my friends Akhil, Anagha, and Asif, they will be sharing more information regarding this conference. So what I am planning is that I will give you a very brief introduction regarding what is LCOI. Okay. So LCOI is basically the local conference of youth, and that includes the local events with a regional national focus that empower the youth to participate in climate action and decision-making process. So here these events are under ENGO, which is an official children and youth constituency of the United Nations Framework Conventions of Climate Change. That's a UNFCCC. So mainly these LCOI's reports, all those reports or all those key points that's collected during these LCOIs are basically contributing towards the global conference of youth as well as towards that of the conference of parties. That's a COP. So the main theme or the main concept of this LCOI is that it is organized by the youth and that is for the youth. And in 2015, the idea of LCOI started spreading around the world. And so their young people recognize the importance of this conference of youth, and that led to the formation of this local conference of youth. And it was actually by 2017, a formal process has been set up within ENGO in order to endorse as well as empower the youth from different organizations in order to organize these LCOIs. So actually, in a very nutshell, we could say that LCOI is basically the local conference of youth. And I think you all got a very brief idea regarding what is LCOI. So from 2017 onwards, these lots of LCOIs are happening. And it was by, in last year, almost 85 LCOIs was held. So that's all about LCOI in a nutshell. So now I think Agil Salim will take over the session and he will give you more information as well as experience regarding this conference. So that's all. Thank you. Over to Agil Salim.
Thank you, Megha. I would like to invite Agil Salim to share the experience of place, dates, and experiences where ELCOI 2023 was held.
Hello, audible ആണോ?
Yes, you're audible.
ഹായ്, എൻ്റെ പേര് അഖിൽ സലീം. ഞാൻ ഇപ്പം 5 year BBA LLBയുടെ ലാസ്റ്റ് ഇയർ ആയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ എൽകോയി പ്രോഗ്രാമിനെ കുറിച്ച് ഞങ്ങൾ വിസിറ്റ് ചെയ്തപ്പം September 15 to 17 ആയിരുന്നു എൽകോയി പ്രോഗ്രാം. തൃശ്ശൂർ കില അക്കാഡമിയിൽ കില ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷനിൽ വെച്ചിട്ടായിരുന്നു എൽകോയുടെ പ്രോഗ്രാം ഹെൽഡ് ചെയ്തത്. ഇന്ത്യയിൽ നിന്ന് പല ഭാഗത്തായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു യൂത്ത് ആണ് ഈ പ്രോഗ്രാമിന് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കുന്നത്. 16 to 17 ആദ്യത്തെ ദിവസം ടെക്നിക്കൽ സെക്ഷൻസ് ആയിരുന്നു. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ യൂണിസെഫിന്റെയും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ കില KL റാവു സാർ, നമ്മുടെ യൂണിസെഫിന്റെ ചീഫായിട്ടുള്ള സാറും നമുക്ക് ഇൻട്രൊഡക്ഷൻ സെക്ഷനും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ക്ലാസ്സസ് എടുത്ത് തന്നു. പിന്നെ അതുപോലെ തന്നെ BBGന്റെയും എൽകോയിന്റെ ടീംസും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ആൻഡ് 16th അങ്ങനെ എഡ്യൂക്കേറ്റീവ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള സെഷൻസ് ആയിട്ട് പോയി. 16th വരുമ്പം നമുക്ക് ഫീൽഡ് വിസിറ്റ് ആയിരുന്നു. ഫീൽഡ് വിസിറ്റ് ആക്ച്വലി രണ്ടായിട്ടായിരുന്നു. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ കോസ്റ്റൽ ഏരിയ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ വടക്കാഞ്ചേരി വേസ്റ്റ് മാനേജ്മെന്റ് പ്ലാന്റും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോ ഫ്രം അവർ ടീം എനിക്കും അനഘയ്ക്കും മേഘയ്ക്കും വടക്കാഞ്ചേരി വേസ്റ്റ് മാനേജ്മെന്റ് പ്ലാന്റിലേക്കും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ആസിഫിന് കോസ്റ്റൽ ഏരിയ വിസിറ്റും ആയിരുന്നു. അപ്പൊ വടക്കാഞ്ചേരി വേസ്റ്റ് മാനേജ്മെന്റ് പ്ലാന്റ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ അതൊരു അവരുടെ ഒരു സ്വച്ഛ് ഭാരത് മിഷൻ പോലെയായിരുന്നു അത് കൊണ്ടുവന്നത്. ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് കയറിയപ്പോ തന്നെ പവർ പ്ലാന്റിനെ കുറിച്ച് എങ്ങനെയാണ് അവിടുത്തെ വർക്കിംഗ് ഫങ്ഷൻസ്, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഹരിതകർമ്മ സേന ഇവരെങ്ങനെയാണ് ഇവിടെ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുന്നത്, ഫങ്ഷൻ ചെയ്യുന്നത് എന്നൊക്കെയായിരുന്നു നമുക്കൊരു ഐഡിയ തന്നെ. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് അവിടുത്തെ വർക്കിംഗ് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഈ വേസ്റ്റ് അവർ കളക്ട് ചെയ്ത് അത് സെഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത് അത് ഫെർട്ടിലൈസർ ആക്കി ബാക്കിയുള്ളവർക്ക് സെയിലും ചെയ്യുന്ന, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക് ആണെങ്കിൽ അതൊക്കെ കളക്ട് ചെയ്ത് സ്ക്രാപ്പിനൊക്കെ കൊടുക്കുന്നതും നമുക്ക് കാണിച്ചു തന്നിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. പിന്നെ അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ലാസ്റ്റ് നമുക്ക് ഹരിത കർമ്മ സേന ടീമുമായിട്ട് നമുക്കൊരു ഇന്ററാക്റ്റീവ് സെക്ഷൻസ് കിട്ടിയായിരുന്നു. അത് ഭയങ്കര എന്താ പറയാ, ഇപ്പൊ നമ്മുടെ അമ്മമാരെ പോലെ തന്നെയായിരുന്നു അവര്. നമുക്ക് ഭയങ്കര ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളൊരു കോൺവെർസേഷനും അവരുടെ ഒരു ഇനീഷ്യേറ്റീവ് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഈ നാടിനെ അവര് ഒരു നല്ല രീതി പ്രൊമോട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതെന്നുള്ളൊരു ഇത് കാണാൻ പറ്റി നമുക്ക്. പിന്നെ ലാസ്റ്റ് 17th നമുക്ക് മെയിൻ ആയിട്ട് ഓപ്പൺ പാനൽ ഡിസ്കഷൻസും മെയിൻ യൂണിസെഫിന്നും BBG ടീംസിന്നും ഒക്കെ ഇന്ററാക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റിയത്. ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് മാക്സിമം ഒരു 3-4 ഗ്രൂപ്പായിട്ടൊക്കെ തിരിക്കാനും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ പല ടോപ്പിക് ക്ലൈമറ്റ് അവയർനെസ്സും ലോസ് റിലേറ്റഡും അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞ ഒരു പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം ഡിസ്കഷൻസും ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. സോ ഇതായിരുന്നു ഞങ്ങളുടെ 3 ദിവസത്തെ മെയിൻ പ്രോഗ്രാം ചാർട്ട്. അപ്പോ I would like to invite Anagha for more details. Thank you.
Thank you, Agil Salim. And we'll be having Anagha Eskimo for sharing the objectives and learnings of ELCOI. Over to you, Anagha.
Good evening. I'm audible?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So, good evening all. I'm Anagha Eskimo, Youth Representative from the District of Thrissur in the State Climate Action Forum. I'm currently doing my finals in LLB at Government Law College, Thrissur. So, ELCOI provided the platform for us youth from the various parts of the country to engage in deliberative discussion and establish the rate and significance of just transition. We generated few innovative ideas and sustainable solutions to build a circular economy and document them. And these ideas are currently being drafted to be the youth statement at the COP28. From ELCOI, we were able to learn about the various campaigns, movements, and initiatives led by youth. The greatest learning that we all had is that the voice of youth matters. ELCOI is a youth-led for youth program All the programs there were conducted by youth itself. The visits to the coastal areas as well as the Vadakanchere waste management plant was very much eye-opening. It showed how the local self-government as well as the Harida Karma Sena can make a positive impact on the society. We were also able to interact with the youth all over the country and learn about the activities which is carried out in various states to against the climate change. I call upon Asif to brief about some of the suggestions that were made by us. Thank you.
Thank you, Anaga. I would like to pass it to Muhammad Asif for telling about what can we do as youths. He would like to also share the experience of visiting Kaipamangalam Beach. Over to you, Asif.
Hi, am I audible?
Oh, yes, you may.
Okay, I'm Muhammad Asif Cherachan. I am a B1 student and a working staff for Alliance Française de Trivandrum. So I'll be giving you a uh, brief learning experience where we went for a field trip at the Kaipamangalam beach as a part of LCOI event. Waking up at 5 a.m. proved to be a challenge. We needed to get ready for the field trip planned for us. Delegates were divided into two groups. With me in the first group, our bus departed for the Kerala coast to witness adaptation methods implemented by local governments to combat coastal erosion. Our bus reached the seashore by 9 a.m. and the sound of crashing waves was met with cheers from all of us. Chinese fishing nets dotted the Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Asif.
Okay, crashing waves was met with cheers from all of us. Chinese fishing net dotted the horizon and the blue waters captivated us all. We learned about Miyawaki forest, a form of intensive plantation in small areas to prevent coastal erosion. Local authorities and fishermen welcomed us along the way. We briefly entered a Miyawaki forest but had to leave due to a lack of permission. One indigenous observation I made was the use of bike engines to lower Chinese fishing nets into the seawater. We witnessed live fish catches with crabs, shrimp, prawns, and more in a box filled with ice. We even took some adventurous steps on the Chinese fishing nets. Next on our agenda was visiting house built by the Kerala state government under the scheme called Punargeham. Scheme for coastal families affected by the frequent floods and tornadoes. We walked along muddy road, navigating small puddles formed minutes ago by a sudden downpour, which we were fortunate to have missed. We passed the beautiful bungalows, all which astonishingly were not private property but houses constructed by the Kerala government. Each bungalow covering minimum of 40 square feet boasted unique designs. There was no monotony and greenery abounded, attracting countless butterflies to each bungalow. There were more than 900 such houses in that constituency alone, uh, with the government's goal being to build 10,000 homes for deserving individuals. While we spoke with the residents about their experiences in their new homes and how they managed to adapt, they all expressed positive reviews. However, we couldn't help but notice the lack of proper sanitation and infrastructure. The narrow lanes were unsuitable for car traffic, and some areas were still under the construction. Nevertheless, we appreciated in the initiative. After gaining insight into their livelihoods, we were taken to a nearby college, which was MES, where the MLA E.T. Tyson of the Kaipamangalam constituency greeted us, and he knew me from the platform, and it made me happy. He was well versed in the details of Punargeham project and encouraged us to share our thoughts. The meeting covered all aspects from construction and financing, scientific significance, and social impact. As time was running short, the organizers wrapped up the meeting like very fastly. So, and I am here to talk about the learnings which we made from the LCOI conference. So, what we can do as youth to fight against the climate change. So, the first thing I want to tell everybody? Can anybody reply for my talk? Any students, youth, or anyone? Okay. I would like to continue it then. So I want everybody to start their own process of fighting against climate change in a local level by supporting every youth sabas, local sabas and all. And I would like to suggest every student sitting here to start to encourage your family or your friends and ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്ന എല്ലാവർക്കും അവരുടെ സുഹൃത്തുക്കളെയും ഫാമിലിനെ എല്ലാം എങ്ങനെയാണ് ക്ലൈമറ്റ് ചേഞ്ച് ഭാവിയിലുള്ള ജനറേഷൻ എഫക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എത്രത്തോളമാണ് ഇവിടുത്തെ പോളിസി മേക്കിങ്ങിൽ ഇവിടുത്തെ യൂത്തിന് ഉണ്ടാവുന്ന റെപ്രസെന്റേഷൻ എന്നൊക്കെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫാമിലിനെ പറഞ്ഞ് ധരിപ്പിക്കാവുന്നതാണ്. ആൻഡ് ഓൾസോ ലോക്കലി നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നിങ്ങളുടെ പഞ്ചായത്തുമായിട്ടും വെറ്റ്ലാൻഡ് യൂത്ത് മിത്ര പോലത്തെ സംഘടനകളുമായിട്ടും ചേർന്നിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. ദാറ്റ്സ് ഇറ്റ്. താങ്ക് യു.
Thank you, Asaf, for sharing your experience and what we could do as youths. You have almost given the answer to a lot of questions. So next, let's just continue to the IDDRR Day quiz, which is to be conducted relating to the previous sessions we had. So I would like to invite Mr. George sir, the consultant of UNICEF, conducting the quiz.
Okay, thank you, Miha. ഈ മീറ്റിംഗിൽ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്ത എല്ലാവർക്കും ഒരിക്കൽ കൂടി നന്ദി പറയുന്നു. നമുക്കൊരു ചെറിയൊരു ക്വസ് എന്ന് പറയാൻ പറ്റില്ല, എന്നാലും ഒരു 10 ചോദ്യങ്ങളുള്ള ഒരു ചെറിയൊരു ലിങ്ക് ഞാൻ ഇത് ചാറ്റിലിടാം. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് അത് ചാറ്റിൽ കയറി ആ ലിങ്കിൽ അതിന്റെ ആൻസേഴ്സ് പറയാം. വളരെ സിമ്പിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ചില ചോദ്യങ്ങളാണ്. പൊതുവിൽ IDDRR ഡേ, ഇന്റർനാഷണൽ ഡേ ഫോർ ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ റിസ്ക് റിഡക്ഷൻ, അതിനോട് ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടും അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ഡോക്ടർ അഭിലാഷ് എന്ന് സംസാരിച്ച വിഷയത്തോടുള്ള ബന്ധപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുള്ള വളരെ സിമ്പിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ചില ചോദ്യങ്ങളാണ്. സോ യു ക്യാൻ അറ്റംപ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ് നൗ. ഈ ചാറ്റിൽ ഇട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഒരു 2 to 3 മിനിറ്റ്സിനുള്ളിൽ തീരേണ്ടതാണ്.
Joe?
Yeah.
No,
Mahindra?
nothing. I mean, we need to tell some of the youths couldn't join because of the technology problem. Sincere apologies to those youths who have tried to join. We will improve our technology support mechanisms next time. Sincere, please tell your friends and others who have tried to join but couldn't join because of the limitations that we had. We will improve those things, and we request when the next month's meeting, we will ensure that everybody is able to participate.
Yes. ഡോക്ടർ മഹേന്ദ്ര പറഞ്ഞത് ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ പ്രതീക്ഷിച്ചേക്കാളും അധികം പാർട്ടിസിപ്പൻസ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. എന്ന് മാത്രമല്ല, ഇത് പല സ്ഥലങ്ങളിൽ ഇത് ഈ ഫ്ലയറും അഡ്വർടൈസ്മെന്റ് പോയതുകൊണ്ട് കുറെ പേര് പല സ്ഥലങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നായിട്ട് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് ശ്രമിച്ചു. അപ്പോൾ അടുത്ത മാസത്തെ മീറ്റിംഗ്, അടുത്ത മാസം മിക്കവാറും നവംബർ 14-ാം തീയതി ആയിരിക്കും ഫൈനലിലെ അനൗൺസ്മെന്റ് വരും. എന്നിരുന്നാലും അടുത്ത മാസം നമ്മളത് യൂട്യൂബ് ലൈവായിട്ടോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മറ്റൊരു സംവിധാനമോ നമ്മൾ ഏർപ്പാടാക്കും. അതിനുള്ള ശ്രമം നടത്തുന്നതായിരിക്കും എന്നും അറിയിക്കുന്നു. ഇന്ന് കയറാൻ പറ്റാത്തവരോട് അപ്പോളജീസ് ഞങ്ങൾ അറിയിക്കുകയാണ്. നിങ്ങളുടെ ഫ്രണ്ട്സ് ആണെങ്കിൽ അവരോടൊന്ന് പറയാം. അടുത്ത പ്രാവശ്യം അത് നമുക്ക് സെറ്റിൽ ചെയ്യാം. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നവർ അവരുടെ ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക്, അവരുടെ രജിസ്ട്രേഷൻ, പാർട്ടിസിപ്പന്റ് രജിസ്ട്രേഷനും കൂടി ആ ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക് ലിങ്കിൽ നേരത്തെ അയച്ചിരുന്നു ചാറ്റിൽ. അതും കൂടി ഒന്ന് ഫില്ല് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് ശ്രമിക്കുക. ക്വിസ് അറ്റംപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് താല്പര്യമുള്ളവർ അത് അറ്റംപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നവർക്ക് ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ഫീഡ്ബാക്ക് പൊതുവിൽ തരണമെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ 1 മിനിറ്റ് അതിനു വേണ്ടി വിനിയോഗിക്കാം. നമുക്ക് 1-2 മിനിറ്റ് കൂടി ബാക്കിയുണ്ട്. If anyone would like to share your feedback now, please feel free to do that. or if you have any questions to Dr. Abhilash, he is also there online. യൂണിഫോം ഇട്ടിരിക്കുന്നവര് സ്റ്റുഡന്റ് പോലീസ് കാഡറ്റ്സ് ആണോ, NCC ആണോ? ആരെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യാമോ? വളരെ ഉത്സാഹത്തോട് എഴുതുന്നവരെ കണ്ടു. ആരെങ്കിലും ഒന്ന് റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യാമോ? അഭിനവ് പ്ലീസ്. SPC.
അതെ സർ.
ഓക്കെ. എവിടെ നിന്നാണ്, ഏത് ജില്ലയിൽ നിന്നാണ്?
തിരുവനന്തപുരം സർ.
ഓക്കെ, താങ്ക് യു. മറ്റ് ഏതെങ്കിലും ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസ് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്യുന്നവരൊന്ന് അൺമ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്ത് പറയാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, ഭൂമിത്ര സേനയിൽ നിന്ന് കുറെ പേര് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടെന്ന് അറിയാം. ഒരുപക്ഷെ കുറച്ചു പേർക്ക് കയറാനായിട്ട് സാധിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ല. സാമൂഹ്യ സന്നദ്ധ സേന, ആപ്താമിത്ര, NCC, മറ്റാർക്കെങ്കിലും പരിചയപ്പെടാനായിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഒന്ന് അൺമ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾ തന്നെ സ്വയം പരിചയപ്പെടുത്താം. എല്ലാവരും അല്ല, സന്നദ്ധ സംഘടനയിൽ നിന്ന് ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളവരുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ. ഭൂമിത്ര സേന. ഓക്കെ.
ഹായ് സർ.
പറഞ്ഞു.
ഞാൻ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ആദിശങ്കര ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ട് ഓഫ് എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് ആൻഡ് ടെക്നോളജി NRPF വോളണ്ടിയർ ആണ്, NSSന്റെ കീഴിൽ വരുന്ന. സെഷൻ വളരെ നല്ല സെഷൻ ആയിരുന്നു. നമുക്ക് NRPFന്റെ കീഴിലും നമ്മൾ ഒരുപാട് വർക്ക് ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ മാനേജ്മെന്റിന്റെ ഇതിലൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. സോ അത് വളരെ നല്ലൊരു സെഷൻ ആയിരുന്നു നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും.
വെരി ഗുഡ്, താങ്ക് യു.
താങ്ക് യു സർ.
ഹലോ സർ. ഹലോ.
യെസ്, മുഹമ്മദ് അഷ്റഫ് പറഞ്ഞു.
ഞാനൊരു പാരന്റ് ആണ്, മെഹയുടെ അച്ഛനാണ്. ഇന്ന് നമ്മളെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം, വയനാടിനെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിടത്തോളം വളരെ ഒരു നല്ലൊരു ദിവസമായിരുന്നു. ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ മാനേജ്മെന്റിന്റെ പട്ടികവർഗ വിഭാഗത്തില് ആദ്യത്തെ ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് പ്രോഗ്രാം ചെയ്യുന്ന കേരളത്തിലെ ഒന്നാമത്തെ ജില്ലയായിട്ട് ഡിക്ലെയർ ചെയ്ത ഒരു ദിവസം കൂടിയായിരുന്നു ഇന്ന്. അപ്പൊ അതില് പങ്കെടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്ന പ്രോഗ്രാമിന് വയനാട്ടില്. അതിനോട് കണക്റ്റഡ് ആയിട്ട് ഈ സെഷൻ വന്നത് വളരെ സന്തോഷകരം, വളരെ നല്ലൊരു ഇൻഫോർമേറ്റീവ് ആയിരുന്നു കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ. സന്തോഷം സർ.
അതെ, വയനാട് ജില്ലയിൽ ഇന്ന് സംസ്ഥാന വ്യാപകമായിട്ടുള്ള അന്താരാഷ്ട്ര ദിനം അവിടെയാണ് നടത്തിയത് എന്നറിയാം. ഇത് മാത്രമല്ല, വയനാടുള്ള എല്ലാ ട്രൈബൽ കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റീസിന്റെയും ഡിസാസ്റ്റർ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് പ്ലാൻ പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. സാർ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഇന്ത്യയിലെ ആദ്യത്തെ ഒരു ജില്ലയാണ് അങ്ങനെ തയ്യാറാക്കിയത്. താങ്ക് യു. ഓക്കെ, ഫെബിന മരിയം ചോദിച്ചിരിക്കുന്നത്, can I know how can we become a member of ELCOI? അപ്പോ ഇതില് ELCOI എന്നുള്ളത് ഒരു കോൺഫറൻസ് ആണ്. അപ്പൊ അതില് നമ്മൾ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ടാണ് പോകുന്നത്. പക്ഷെ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ELCOI കീപ്സ് ഹാപ്പനിങ് ഇൻ മെനി പ്ലേസസ്. അപ്പൊ അതില് നമ്മൾ അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യാന്നുള്ളതാണ്. അതിലൊരു മെമ്പർഷിപ്പ് എന്ന രീതിയിലല്ല, നമ്മൾ അതിൽ പാർട്ടിസിപ്പന്റ് ആയിട്ട് അറ്റൻഡ് ചെയ്യാം. പക്ഷെ ഈ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം, സ്റ്റേറ്റ് പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോം ഉണ്ട്. നമുക്ക് പലരും പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ സ്പീക്കർ, ബഹുമാനപ്പെട്ട സ്പീക്കർ അധ്യക്ഷനായിട്ടുള്ള നിയമസഭയുടെ കീഴിലൊരു വേദിയുണ്ട്, കാലാവസ്ഥ വേദി. അതില് പങ്കെടുക്കുന്ന മെമ്പേഴ്സ് വിവിധ ജില്ലകളെ പ്രതിനിധീകരിച്ചിട്ട് വന്നിട്ടുള്ളവരാണ്. ഓരോ ജില്ലയിൽ നിന്നും 2 പേര്. ഇപ്പൊ മീഹ വയനാട് ജില്ലയിലെ വിദ്യാർത്ഥി പ്രതിനിധിയാണ്. അപ്പൊ അവര് ഇതിന് ഒരു സെലക്ഷൻ പ്രൊസീജിയർ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അതിനനുസരിച്ച് 2 വർഷം മുമ്പ് അവര് മൊബൈൽ ഫോട്ടോഗ്രാഫി ക്വിസ് പ്രോഗ്രാം, അങ്ങനെ ഈ 2 ഇവന്റ്സിൽ നിന്ന് സെലക്ട് ചെയ്ത് തെരഞ്ഞെടുക്കപ്പെട്ടിട്ടുള്ള 2 പേര് വീതമാണ് ഇതിൽ അംഗങ്ങളായിട്ടുള്ളത്. ഇത് വിപുലീകരിക്കാനുള്ള പ്ലാൻ ഉണ്ട്. അത് ഭൂമിത്ര സേന അംഗങ്ങള് പരിഗണിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് ഈ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിൽ കൂടുതൽ ആളുകളെ കൊണ്ടുവരുന്നതിനുള്ള ആലോചനകൾ നടക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. അങ്ങനെയാണ് അതിൽ അംഗമാവുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, നമ്മുടെ സമയം കഴിഞ്ഞിരിക്കുകയാണ്. മീഹ, യു വാണ്ട് ടു പ്രൊപ്പോസ് വോട്ട് ഓഫ് താങ്ക്സ്? വിജയൻ സാറ് മറ്റെന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ സാറേ? മഹീന്ദ്ര, എനിത്തിങ് എൽസ്?
Nothing much. I would just want to see our best that we can, as others were saying, this conclave that is coming out next week, and also smaller programs by the members at their own level would be a very encouraging way. So we can start something on that. So when people can come for next month, we have something to show that we are initiated some kind of action. Thank you so much for everybody for participating.
Yes, sir.
Over.
Okay, I think Mihal.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So first of all, thanks to everyone for being here. It's the starting of our technical sessions, and we hope to continue this for the next 6 months. So first, to the dignitaries who spend their valuable time with us, to all the young minds, and for inspiring us. To all the respected officials, first, thanks to your sessions. And when coming to the technical sessions, thanks to Dr. Ablash sir for making us acknowledged about the climate change and extreme weather events in context of our locality. And to my platform members who shared their experience of LCOI, and to all the SPC, NCC cadets, Bhumitra Sena, and every one of the friends who have joined here. As previously said, you guys are here because of the reason that you are concerned about your surroundings and your climate, and that's a very good thing to be acknowledged of when thinking of the future. So I would like to thank to the authorities and every single person who joined this conference. So I would like to conclude my words by again thanking every one of you guys for being a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Miha, also for moderating well the session. As we conclude, I will just play a video. Play you can slowly exit. UNIDDRR disaster risk reduction മേധാവി ആയിട്ടുള്ള മാഡം സംസാരിക്കുന്നതാണ്. ജസ്റ്റ് 2 മിനിറ്റ് താല്പര്യമുള്ളവർക്ക് അത് കാണാം.
90% of climate-related deaths occur in poorer countries. Even in wealthier countries, the majority of disaster victims are the poorest and those already facing social and economic inequality. In the shocking findings of our disability survey launched today, 84% of persons with disabilities feel they are unprepared to respond in the event of a disaster. Inequality in all its forms is a major driver of disaster risk. That is because poverty and inequality create the conditions that force communities to live in hazardous areas with weak infrastructure and housing. Inequality inhibits access to information, services, and warnings. And after a disaster, it takes vulnerable communities much longer to recover, and people are often driven further into poverty. We must break this cycle of inequality, disaster, repeat. On the 2023 International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, we say no more. No more inequality. No more leaving people behind. No more climate injustice. No one is safe from the threat of disasters until everyone is safe. This means countries must urgently prioritize the rollout of inclusive, multi-hazard early warning systems so that everyone, regardless of where they are, is protected and prepared. It also means adequately funding disaster risk reduction, whether that is through international assistance, public or private investment, and prioritizing developing countries to help them avoid disasters. By supporting the poorest and most vulnerable countries and taking care of the most at risk within all countries, we can ensure no one is left behind and empower people to prosper with equality and resilience. With the right decisions and actions now, we can protect every life from disasters. We can and we must. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.